Hey everyone, welcome to another episode from Ampro Engineering. This is the WPL D22 and I'm in love. So I have the D12, which is effectively the Chinese licensed version of the Suzuki Carry. This version over here is made in China, and I'm talking about the real one, was licensed from Daihatsu, made in China, known as the Tianjin Dafa. I hope I'm saying this correctly. I apologize if I'm not. And this one here has been licensed from Tianjin, I believe. I don't know how the licensing works, but it's allegedly licensed. Anyway, what we have here is just fantastic. I love this thing. Flipping it over here, we see some basic information. Again, this is the D22. This is a very similar chassis to the D12, but it's actually slightly shorter. It's the same chassis used on the D42 Tianjin van, or the taxi, which is what it was for the most part shown as. Let's go ahead and open this little guy up and see what we have got. Wow, that's almost a maroon. Very pretty. This is a little bag of extra components. Headache bar right there. Some of the other trim pieces. These are these trim pieces. In fact, I'm going to steal the one right here because it's already in there. This is the one used in the D42 van, which is also used in the D32. And there's no surprise here, it's also going to be used in the D22. There are components you're not going to use, like this is the trim piece for the rear license plate on the van. This is the rear license plate for the van. The mirrors are going to go on all the vehicles, wipers, door handles, and such. There's also some spare pieces in here, like this is the upper link. We've got an extra leaf spring. This is the metal reflective part of the mirror. The charger, the battery is usually inside the vehicle, so we'll double check. And the decal sheet. The decal sheet consists of two sheets. We've got this one over here. Again, it's a generic sheet. This is got parts for the van as well. And then this little WPL sticker sheet. Basic instructions. Front half is going to be in English. Basic sticker placement, functionality. So lithium ion battery is going to be supplied. We'll show you the radio right now. I've got several of these and they make a variety of them. They have some variants that actually have a functionality here for a winch. Some of them have shifting capabilities, sound, light, and all this stuff. This particular one here it seems to be bespoke to the D-Series vehicles. Power switch, of course, power indicator. This throttle rate will increase throttle and decrease the maximum throttle. Same with the steering rate. It'll kind of increase it for perhaps drifting. And then this is the trim. The remote is very small, very basic, and feels outstanding. I really like these radios. Yeah, they have a bit of a cheap level to them, but they're still outstanding. They work really well and you can one-hand drive, and even with my gigantic hands, it's ultra comfortable. Looking at the vehicle, just magnificent. I really enjoy this color. I feel like had they gone with a brighter red, that it would have looked very cheap. This comes across quite I hesitate to say luxurious, but it has a little bit more of a premium look to it. Very, very, very glossy plastics. But at the same time, you kind of want it glossy for the most of the part. You know, some of you perhaps don't, but for a lot of the applications, the glossiness is going to be quite good. These do have relatively full interiors. I've pretty much put a full-size figure in my D42. They're not technically a 1/10 scale figure, which is about 6 inches tall, probably closer to a 5-inch figure, and they fit really well. In fact, I think they fit a little bit better. Really nice detailing. For the most part, the cab is identical to the van. The van, in fact, I had mentioned in that video that it looked like they were going to make a truck at some point, and I think I was right about that. Provisions for lights, and we actually do have a light kit for this that we will be installing in a later video. If we flip this over, really cool little feature here. To access the battery, you just turn the wheel, and there you go. The wheel has this little flange right there, so when you close it, it locks in there, and then the battery is, for the most part, stuck. On my D12, it was not like this. I don't know if the newer ones are, but mine certainly had a little clip here at the rear. Underbelly, if you've got a D12 or a D42, they're pretty much the same. The chassis is shorter. It's the same chassis as the D42. All plastic. Motors up here, transmission, plastic drive shaft to a plastic rear end. Metal leaf springs. The front end is torsion bar suspension with adjustable camber. You've also got adjustable tie rods as well. A lot of these components are available in metal. There's a really huge following for these, both on the aftermarket from eBay as well as from WPL themselves. You can get a lot of these parts made in metal. So first things first, let's compare it with the D12, which is the first one. Again, the D12 is a Suzuki, so it's styled a bit differently, but they're both little K trucks, and as such, their proportions are quite similar. It does appear that their lengths are almost identical, actually. I'm going to try and butt up the rears. It's really hard to see. With the rear level, you can see that the Suzuki is perhaps 10 millimeters longer, which I'm kind of confused by because I heard that this chassis is shorter. Let's compare the wheelbase. Okay, so wheelbase is shorter, but you can tell here, for the most part, that they're nearly the same length. Let's compare this to its van brother, which in this case here was customized and painted red by me, so they're kind of closer in color. Front cabs are identical. As I had mentioned, this whole back half is a bolt-on piece. Chassis on these two are going to be identical. I'm a massive fan, absolutely massive fan of this little van. In fact, you can see this guy has been heavily customized. It's full of people. It weighs exactly 1.5 metric tons with everybody in there. But yeah, you know, let's kind of compare the lengths here. The truck is significantly longer. Here you're seeing the gap, probably close to 15 millimeters of extra length. Again, the wheelbase is identical between these two as they are the exact same chassis. Lastly, we'll try it with its fraternal twin brother that also just came out. This little guy is the D32, I believe. Again, identical plastic. Here you can see the extra cab section at the rear. I've been told that this chassis is the chassis from the D12. So let's go ahead and compare that. The blue one does seem longer, and yeah. So the blue one both has a longer chassis and is round about 20 millimeters longer, as you can see right there. Let's go ahead and get some batteries in the radio. There's a screw on the bottom of these. I know people complain about screws and such, but you also have to understand that the target audience for this isn't necessarily adults. A lot of these are going to go to children, and there are certain regulations that do require battery compartments to be sealed mechanically, so that if the whatever component it is falls on the ground, the batteries don't shoot out and become choking hazards. So that is why there's a screw. So we'll just go ahead and put it in there. I have a lot of these batteries given my vast quantity of WPL products, and they're really good. I mean, I've had some of my, however long I've had my D12, and that battery originally came with still works. Okay, batteries in. Cool. All right, remote on. Oh, it's already on. Okay. Headlights usually just come on, I believe, in this vehicle. There's no way to shut them off, I don't think. Steering. I'm going to hold it all the way to the right. We'll press our steering rate. Significant increase. We'll try the throttle as well. Max speed. Sounds faster. I can't say it's much, perhaps 15 to 20% faster. These have really good throttle and steering control. I mean, really, really good. Okay, at this point here, I think this little guy needs to go for a drive. Imagine if I didn't suck at this. Upon driving this vehicle, I mean, I'm not surprised. I loved it. And the reason I'm not surprised is that it's just like the D12. It has the same handling characteristics. It has the same fun factor. I love these little tiny K trucks. And on top of that, they are just massively customizable. I know that the D12 has a huge following right now. I don't know much about the D42 van over here, which effectively is the same vehicle. But the aftermarket for these on wheels and metal components and kind of crazy body kits and all that is absolutely huge. This D12 here was likely one of the first ones in the United States, and I've been running this thing just constantly. It gets driven a huge amount. It's still running all of its factory electronics. It's been reliable. Mine has some very minor customization. I did some Libra or Roosevelt wheels, depending on who you bought them from. I did add the emblems on this little guy here. And on the van, I've actually got all of the appropriate Hijet and Daihatsu badging here at the rear. It's got a set of Ampro wheels on it with some Banggood special tires, which are actually pretty good tires. But the fact of the matter is, this is a hugely fun vehicle to drive. It's a little underpowered. The rear suspension is, you know, it's not going to carry your 6-pack of beer, but we'll have to revisit that. If you do want this thing to be more of a little shop truck or more of a tow truck, work will have to be done. You're going to have to reinforce the rear suspension. You're going to have to upgrade the driveline. I don't know if the stock electronics are going to handle that. So before you buy this, do definitely get an idea of what your plan is and to ensure that this fits in what you want to do with a tiny little K truck. I have seen people do a lot of four-wheel drive conversions on these using the C chassis for these cars. Haven't really noticed any of the B chassis. The B's are the leaf sprung ones. There's a link in the description on where to get these. You can get them directly from the WPL website. They come in a double corrugated box. If you do get one of these and you start to customize it, please let me know. Shoot me some pictures. I would love to see what you all are doing with any of these WPL D series vehicles, because I think they are absolutely awesome little RC vehicles. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.